Hey, Dave LaCalle with HeadGames Motorworks. Today we have an N54 on the bench. We're going to check out all the parts and show you what happened. We took out all the valve springs, but I didn't take out all the valves just yet. I was going to do that with you because I wanted people to see the colors on this thing. This is just wild to me. When you have an intake valve that gets blue and purple and you see all these colors, there is a lot of heat here. So there's a lot of heat on the exhaust too. And obviously something happened in this cylinder. What happened in this cylinder is the block came apart. The block split in half. They had some pistons issue. There's a lot of things going on here, and that's what we're going to dissect, because the parts really just tell the story. But first, a word from our sponsor, HeadGames Motorworks. If you're looking for your drink to stay nice and warm or cold, and horsepower is your religion, I suggest you pick up one of our cups. You can also pick up our apparel. Lots of good stuff on our website, headgamesmotorworks.com. And make sure you check out all of our affiliate links. We're an Amazon affiliate. All the links are below. Check out all the gear that we use every single day. Now let's back to the story. One thing I noticed, this valve is like impossible to get out. I haven't checked any of them if they're bent or anything, but I would guarantee that this thing's bent. And look at that purple and blues. And that's a sure sign there was a lot of heat in this thing. Now, it's a record-setting run. What these guys were doing was running boost and nitrous. And nitrous is going to add a lot of cylinder pressure. It's also going to add a lot of heat, as you can see here. Lots and lots of heat. Usually that's a tune thing, and it got really lean. And when it gets lean, it gets hot, and then and know that I'm not blaming anybody here, because, well, we're not blaming. We're just showing parts. But you know, usually an engine builder, when they build an engine, they're just building an engine. They're just putting stuff together, and then the tuner comes in and then they try to tune it. Now it takes time. It takes time to figure out what the car likes, what the car doesn't like, how much timing, all that good stuff. And when you're going for records, you're going to tear up some parts. And I think that's what we see here. We also see that there is quite a bit of valve float. There's like a ledge right there. And that is from the valve beating into the valve seat. Now, this thing had our combination for GSC Power Division valve springs. The car did make some good power. It made, like, I think, around 1,500, and it should have enough valve spring. We've made that kind of power before. We're going to check the springs before we finish this out today, but you can tell this can also happen from a camshaft. If the lobe is very, very aggressive, I don't care what valve spring you stick in it, it could valve float. But it is really, really hot. You can see the heat going all the way up the stem, almost all the way to the guide, because it's all blues and purples. That is, to me, that's just wild. That's wild. That's not something you see every day. The intake valve, all of them kind of look like this. You can see how the 45 is just beat and just scrubbing against the valve seat, basically because they're flexing. You know, when it starts to flex and get beat in, then you're going to get this wear pattern that is unmistakable, and you start losing lash, and then valves can start opening up. I don't think that's what happened here. It doesn't seem like that. On the top side of the valve, we definitely don't see anything really crazy going on. It actually looks happy from the top. It just doesn't look happy from the bottom. And just to show, I'm going to use a different exhaust valve. So it's not the guide that's the problem, although this thing does feel a little loose, and that might be because the valve bent. And once the valve bent, it just stuck in the guide and maybe loosened it up a little bit. But that's what we got going on there. So that guide, I would still run that. So one thing I also wanted to show, that now that I got all the valves out, you'll see that the back side of the valve is blue. And for it to get on the intake, you know, we saw that the front of the head was also blue and purple, and to get the back of the valve blue and purple, you're really, really getting at it. Like that's a lot of heat. That's a whole lot of getting at it. That's what that is. The exhaust seats, or all the seats, they look pretty beat up, as you could expect. There is quite a few marks in them. Now, all of that is from that float. All of that is from that float. They're almost turned the 45-degree round. And especially on the intake side, you can see this thing, it's not really an angle anymore. Now you guys can watch the entire series that we put up. This is back in October. We put up CNC in it, we put up porting it, and valve job. So no cracks to be spoken of. Now, I honestly think that this is not too bad. What you can do is just, you grind all this out and you weld it back up again. And you might have to put 2 seats in it, but it's not that bad. This is pretty easy to, considering everything else that went on, I don't think this is that bad. The intake port doesn't really have anything to talk about. It's very clean, that's the only thing I can say. Usually they would have some soot or some kind of residue in it. And now, although it has been through the spray washer, usually it's not gonna take everything out when the car has been ran. And I'm gonna stay away from any kind of theories of why, but usually there is some kind of remnants. On the exhaust side, I noticed that this one's really, really wet versus this one is not so wet. Now, this is not the cylinder that came apart, but I did notice that there's a lot of wetness on the exhaust side. Usually that's coming from the short block. There's no cam journals to really talk about. Everything up here, not an issue. I did notice on the deck surface that there is these pulls right here, right here. I don't know if that's from getting it off. You know, if Karan was like really wrenching on it to get it off. But I do know that the block's split in half, so that is possible that maybe it was here and it just started yanking on that bolt hole. But that thing is no longer round or flat. Now we're gonna check it for straightness. And first thing you do is stick the straight edge on it and see if it rocks. And I don't see any rock. So now we're going to check it with some feeler gauges. See if we got anything here. Try this one. And we're good. It's actually straight considering all of it's been through. The head's straight. Now it did get milled by the rest of the track and they had a blown head gasket. Karan takes it to a fella down there who has a CNC, and that poor man had to figure out how to fixture this thing in his 3-axis CNC and mill it flat. I feel for that man as a machinist. That thing would suck to do, but he did it for Karan so that way they can get racing again. And they took like 20 thousandths off of this thing to make it straight again. And then there's that. Now we're on to the valve springs, the GSC Beehive spring. And yes, they do not sell this spring for an N54. We make it work with shims, and we mismatch retainers from other platforms to get our install height right. But I don't see anything on there that's really, there's really nothing to write home about. All the titanium looks pretty good. This is just some scuffing marks. It's not actually beat into the retainer, and everything looks good here. Although it does look like it was valve floating. These valve springs have been making the same power and more with no issues at all. So that's why sometimes it's just about the camshaft. The camshaft will be so aggressive that you just can't control it with, I don't care what valve spring you put on it. But let's go check them in the spring tester. All right, so we're gonna check the valve spring in our trusty Buxton spring tester. The spring only lost like 4 pounds on the seat. We somehow gained 3 pounds on the open pressure, and it looks like we're good. So it was installed at 102 pounds on the seat. Oh, there we go. See, here's another one. 101 on the seat, 227 open. There is actually no other valve spring on the market that has that kind of pressure, I might mind you. All right, so all of these things are looking pretty good. I don't see anything wrong with the valve spring. All right, so that's going to complete our teardown for today. I want to say something that applies to any world record effort, not just this one, because I've been a part of many of them. Racing at this level is a team sport, and every team has highs, lows, wins, losses, and growing pains. People think world record is just show up and send it, but the truth is it takes time to get acclimated. The car changes, the tune changes, the track changes. the air changes. Everything changes. And when you're pushing an engine far beyond what it's been designed for, you have to expect failures. That's why the fastest teams in the world don't show up with one engine. They show up with backups, spare parts, spare plans, because breaking parts isn't the surprise. That's the cost of trying to be the fastest. And just as important as the goal itself is the team you build around it. Everyone has to be aligned. Experience, expectations, communication, and how setbacks are handled. What matters in the end is how you respond as a team, what you learn, how you rebuild, and how you move forward smarter. That's going to be the message for today. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment below. I'd love to hear from you. Toodles.